Hi everyone and welcome back to the Department or Product. Coming up this week, we take a look at Perplexity's new API product Sonar, along with AI agent builders from Microsoft and Postman, tools you can use at work including a Google Sheets assistant that helps you to write formulas and write SQL queries, plus the usual mix of data, which this week includes the latest from the State of AI Development Report and an unconventional new marketing strategy that SaaS companies are now adopting. As always, if you enjoy the briefing, hit the subscribe and the like button. So first up, Perplexity has released a new API product that it is calling Sonar. And this product allows product teams to use Perplexity to power the search functionality in their products. So the idea here is that product teams can use the Sonar API to integrate real-time search capabilities into their products so that you can allow users to perform real-time searches from across the web. Perplexity says that the Sonar API is lightweight, affordable, fast, and simple to use. And alongside this, they're also releasing a pro version of the API which can handle in-depth multi-step queries with added extensibility. As part of the announcement, Perplexity says that companies are already using this API, and one example they cited was the case of Zoom, who are using Sonar to enhance their AI chatbot to give real-time answers with citations without requiring users to leave the window. So APIs are continuing to be a major source of revenues for AI companies, but as competitors like OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google all launch similar real-time search capabilities with citations, it does start to feel as though Perplexity's unique value proposition isn't as unique as perhaps it once was. What do you think? Is real-time search capabilities something that you're likely to want to embed into your product? To me, it does feel like a pretty niche value proposition that doesn't have necessarily a wide application, but it would be interesting to hear your thoughts. Let us know in the comments below. And speaking of Zoom, the company has this week announced the launch of something called Zoom Cobrowse. So this is a new SDK that allows users to navigate the web together. And one of the features that I find particularly interesting here is the ability to annotate on each other's screens, which is super helpful for when you've got cases where you need to debug something or explain a feature or just point a user in the right direction. And if the rumors are to be believed, then OpenAI is about to launch its own co-browsing product, which is rumored to be called Operator. Stay tuned on that because we'll be sure to bring you the latest on any updates regarding that. Over on the Substack this week, one of the topics we tackle is the use of synthetic data. So if you've not heard of synthetic data before, it's essentially where companies rely on data that is created by machines to power their products. And part of the reason this is becoming more popular is because experts like OpenAI's former chief scientists, along with people like Elon Musk, are predicting that we've reached peak data. And in the absence of real-world data, more companies are turning to synthetic data to speed up development times and reduce costs. But synthetic data isn't just helpful for training AI models. Product teams can also use synthetic data at work to enhance their products in ways that were pretty unimaginable just a few years ago. So for example, one startup even allows product teams to conduct user testing without real humans. So this startup is called Synthetic Users, and it says it has reached 85 to 92% parity on scores with real humans. So to calculate this score, it takes the transcripts of user research interviews conducted with real humans and then compares them with the transcripts conducted from interviews with synthetic users. So it takes into consideration things like overlapping themes, the depth and specificity of insights, and the comprehensiveness of coverage, and creates this score. And in the latest knowledge series, I explore how product teams can use synthetic data for things like user testing, feature development, market research, and more. So if that's something that's interesting to you, then head over to Substack for that. Meanwhile, Microsoft has released the latest version of its agentic framework, Autogen 0.4, and some of the most important changes to be aware of include the ability to conduct asynchronous events. So this means that agents can work on tasks concurrently without having to wait for other agents to complete theirs. So for example, one agent could be making API calls to collect data, while another parses it and creates a report. And speaking of Microsoft, this week, their CEO recently appeared in an interview where he made some predictions for 2025. And one of the major predictions is that he expects a transition from traditional SaaS applications to AI agents that orchestrate tasks across multiple platforms. So product teams will need to design solutions that integrate with various APIs that allow the seamless operation of AI agents. And it seems that one company in particular has paid attention to this, and that company is Postman. So this week, Postman announced a new AI agent builder that allows users to create agent workflows using a visual no-code canvas. The company's CEO says that Postman is perfectly positioned to leverage the AI wave since agentic architecture inevitably needs API integrations, and a growing number of Postman's users are non-engineers. So what we're seeing here is the rise of APIs as products, the integration of APIs with LLMs and other AI technologies, and the ability for non-technical people to leverage these tools through visual no-code products like the one that Postman has recently released. But it's not just the UI that's evolving. Pricing models are also shifting. And the latest trend is a shift away from seat-based pricing towards usage-based pricing. But a new approach is suggested this week by an investor at Andreessen Horowitz, and Olivia Moore suggests that what may be needed isn't just a shift towards usage-based pricing, but instead a more nuanced approach where product teams find one or two features that power users really love and then paywalling those features while leaving the rest of your product for free. So it's interesting here to see how AI is dramatically shifting some of the conventional notions around not just UX, but also pricing as well. In other news this week, if you're not a fan of cookie banners, then this is probably good news. It has been reported that Google is working on a secret new feature for Chrome, which is called Permissions AI. And it works by analyzing a user's previous responses to pop-ups like cookie banners, and it uses this to guess how you might respond to new ones. So if it determines that you're likely to decline pop-ups, then the pop-up gets blocked and is hidden in the corner of your screen. So it doesn't completely remove the banner, it just assumes that you don't want it to intrude on your user experience and then hides you the option to come back to it to read it later. As somebody who really doesn't like what's happened to the web as a result of cookie banners, this is welcome news. Okay, so let's take a look at some tools you can use this week. And first up is something called Napkin. And if you're somebody who struggles to transform your written work into visuals, then Napkin could be a product that is worth exploring. It works by allowing users to paste their text into Napkin, and it then transforms these into visual assets that you can use at work. So some of the use cases that it suggests includes things like making impactful slides, creating diagrams to articulate your point of view, and more in-depth use cases like creating flowcharts and process diagrams. So if you're somebody who really appreciates visuals at work, but you struggle to transform your text into visuals, then Napkin could be something to check out. Another tool is something called FormulaRizer, which is a bit of a mouthful, but it's a Google Sheets assistant that helps you to write formulas and generate SQL queries. Now, Google does have its own native Gemini assistant for some of these use cases, but the performance of that is a bit iffy. And what's different about FormulaRizer is that it not only creates formulas, but it'll also generate SQL queries based on the information that you need and explain existing queries as well. So if you're somebody who loves to work with data, but you're not entirely sure what formula to use all the time, then FormulaRizer could be interesting. And this one's a little bit different. Sometimes I occasionally like to find some random pieces of hardware, and this is something called AstroPad. And this is a phone case that turns your phone into a Kindle reader by making it more comfortable and ergonomic to use your phone as a reading device. Now, it's not the most elegant, pretty device in the world, but if you don't want to carry an additional device for reading, then this is quite an interesting product. It's also worth mentioning that over on Substack this week, we've launched the Workplace Productivity 30, which is 30 hand-picked products designed to boost your productivity at work. So this covers use cases like creating presentations, rewriting your resume, automating repetitive work, and connecting different knowledge sources, and blocking out distractions. So if you want more products that are designed to help you boost productivity in the workplace, check out the Productivity 30 over on Substack. Okay, now let's take a look at some data and trends to stay informed this week. So first up, the State of AI Development report was released this week from SaaS company Vellum, and they said that 64% of enterprise companies are now using OpenAI's API as their main AI provider. And they also say that the most popular type of AI product that's built is document parsing and analysis, with 60% of respondents citing that as their top use case. So OpenAI is still the leading provider of AI APIs, but it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next year or two as open source models become more prevalent. Microsoft Azure is in second place, followed by Anthropic, with AWS in fourth. There's lots more data in that report, so if you're interested in learning more about how companies are using AI, then that report is definitely something worth checking out. On a slightly different note, another report that caught my eye this week is the annual Luminate Music Report. So this is a real deep dive into how music is evolving. And it's not necessarily product related, but I find this interesting anyway. And one of the most interesting stats for me was that almost 80% of music streams are from songs released in 2010 or later. So if you're interested in how the music industry is evolving, then also check out that report as well. Other data points this week. A new study conducted by Pew Research has found that 23% of US teens have used ChatGPT for schoolwork, and 79% of teens now say that they have heard of ChatGPT, which is up from 67% in 2023. A remarkable rise in brand awareness for ChatGPT amongst US teens. And not only are they aware of ChatGPT, but they're also using it in their day-to-day role. Not only did this research ask about brand awareness, it also asked teens about their opinions on the acceptability for the application of AI across different use cases. And the majority of respondents said that using ChatGPT was acceptable for things like researching new topics, but it wasn't acceptable for writing essays. A new report has confirmed that robot density has doubled in the past 7 years in manufacturing, and South Korea is now the world's leading adopter of industrial robots, with 1,012 robots per 10,000 employees. But it's not just factories and industries that are impacted by robots. The Wall Street firm Morgan Stanley has estimated that the number of US humanoid robots could reach 8 million by 2040 and 63 million by 2050. So what we're starting to see here is the convergence of AI with robotics. And what this means for software product development teams is not clear at the moment, but we could be looking at a future where robots become one of the primary users for software products in a way that we can't quite grasp today. One company that is grateful for humans, and specifically their tendency to sit around watching TV, is Netflix. And this week, they confirmed that they've added a record number of paid subscribers, 18.91 million paid subscribers to be exact, which brings their total global streaming paid memberships to over 300 million. Now, this represents the biggest quarter of net additions in Netflix's history, and it looks like their ad-supported strategy is also working. So in Q4 2024, the ads plan now accounts for over 55% of signups in the countries where it's available. And as a result of this, in the US, the company is increasing its pricing, which will likely drive up signups of the ad-funded plan as users get squeezed on the upper end and decide to shift across to a lower price plan. There are more layoffs this week as well, and Stripe has confirmed that it is laying off 300 people, mostly in its product, engineering, and ops teams. And during the layoff process, there was a bizarre series of events which led to members of staff who were being laid off receiving a PDF which contained an image of a cartoon duck that said, US non-Californian duck. I'm really not sure what the story is behind this, but I would love to find out more. Stripe said that all people impacted by the layoffs will be given severance pay along with their bonus, and the company is planning to hire more in 2025. But the fact that these layoffs are coming predominantly from product engineering and ops will no doubt make product engineering teams a little nervous, even if there are plans to hire more people in 2025. And finally, if you're looking for new ways to attract users to your product, then one SaaS company this week confirmed that it now gets 1/3 of its customer leads from an unlikely source, memes. One of the co-founders said that people follow us just from our memes. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but 1 out of 3 of our leads now comes from a meme. This SaaS company has raised a further $5 million for its product, but as generative AI makes the creation of memes easier, we could see more product marketing teams adopt this strategy. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are memes on the top of your product growth agenda or not? And on that note, I'll leave it there. Thanks very much for listening and watching. We'll be back next week with another briefing.